Zeb here, and this is another ranking. Today I'm gonna rank the band Yellow Magic Orchestra. From now on, I'll just say YMO, and I'm not counting these two live albums. Public Pressure, which was done on, I believe, their tour worldwide, London, New York, Los Angeles in 1978 or 9, released 1980 officially. And this is After Service, double CD, which was done in 1984, just before they quit. Many of the versions here are much more modern than their late 70s, early 80s. But by 83 they had become quite commercial. I'm not ranking the remix album or EP. This is only the EP. I didn't like it. And I'm not ranking the almost reunion band called Sketch Show, which is two members from the Yellow Magic Orchestra. And this is a fun glitch pop album, but we're not talking about any side projects or solo albums or anything, so we'll jump straight into it. Last place is Service. One of the reasons I place this so low is that there are some Chinese, I guess, satire, comedy intermixed. So you get Limbo, then you get some sketch, which I don't understand. Then you get the Madman, then you get another set, Chinese Whispers, another set. You Got to Help Yourself, another set, Shadow on the Ground, another set, See Through, another set, and Perspective, and another set. So there's only 7 songs in total here. Limbo is okay, The Madman is very good, Chinese Whisper, I don't like it. You Got to Help Yourself is a song along with The Madman, which is the best ones for me on their last studio album released in 1984. Next up, it is this one called Naughty Boys. This is a 2-disc edition where you get an instrumental version of Naughty Boys with a couple of differences, of course. So I'm kind of glad that I got both on a 2-disc. Songs here, well, I have a soft spot for their big hit from this album, Kimi ni Minukyo, which is a very feel-good dated 80s pop song. There's also a little teaser of You Got to Help Yourself, but this song lasts only for 30 seconds or so. There is a song called Ongaku, which also is okay, but overall this is not the YMO that I love. Then 6th place, I'm placing the XOO Multiplies, and this is a strange little release. There are a zillion different versions of this. Some versions includes songs from Solid State Survivor. The version I've got from Music on CD is more or less, I think it is the original Japanese. I think it was a mini album, but I think it was marketed as a full-length album. There are 12 tracks, but some of these are jingles, and some of them are in English. And they are the English ones are fun. Listen one or two times, then you just get really tired of hearing them. The song's Nice Age. It sounds like David Bowie to me. It's not bad, it's not great. Then you get a very funky Tighten Up. A Japanese Gentleman Stand Up Please, which I believe is one of their hits. And I like it very much. We get a reprise, Here We Go Again, Tighten Up, which is kind of pointless, but it's fun anyway. We get Citizens of Science, which is a great tune. And we get a short version of the song The End of Asia, which exists as a full-length version on Ryoko Sakamoto's one of his albums. I'll show you that one later. But we're in the top 5. And fifth best YMO album is called Techno Dome. This one was kind of their reunion album, the only one they did, in fact. As YMO, they did a couple of live reunion things and sketch show, and they changed name to Not YMO, and but yes, they basically just played the old songs more or less. They did compose a couple of new songs too, but I haven't found any copies of the. I think it's a double DVD. I'm not sure. This is a fun album. Be Like Superman is great. Nanga Dev is great. High Tech Hippies is fantastic. And it ends with a beautiful song called Pocketful of Rainbows, which many of you know. Elvis Presley did a cover of it. This is a more feel-good early 90s version. Of course, it is a very dated album, but I think it holds up, considering this was done in 1992, 1993. Considering that period, it is very good. So, my fourth favorite YMO album, of course, it is Solid State Survivor. And this is maybe a great album to start with, because it's very short, and they do some amazing songs. Technopolis is great. Absolute Ego Dance is also great. And their big hit Rydeen. Check it out. You get another hit called Behind the Mask, which in fact was covered by Eric Clapton, by Wacko Jacko. So if you search Behind the Mask and the artist just said, you can hear some real shitty versions of YMO's Behind the Mask. I urge you to, of course, check out this original version. You get a weird Beatles cover, the song Day Tripper, and it's kind of good. It has some weird drum patterns where they kind of cut the bar here, cut the bar there. It's a very special little tribute to Beatles. And it ends with a fantastic title cut, Solid State Survivor, which is probably in my top 10 all-time YMO songs. Top 3. Yes, it is their debut album. This is the American front cover. This is the original Japanese front cover. And there are some slight differences in the mix, and also the Japanese version contains the entire album. And this is fun from start to finish. Computer game, Firecracker, Simon, Cosmic Surfing, another computer game, Yellow Magic, Akatong Poo, that's a great tune. La Famille Chinoise, fantastic. Bridge Over Troubled Music is, if you take that tune out of context, it doesn't work. All of this album is meant to be heard from start to finish. And then you get Mad Pierrot, and they end with Acrobat. And if you like Kraftwerk, this is an album that you definitely should check out. They have no shame in claiming they were inspired by Kraftwerk, and I think you can hear it quite clear on this album and also the next two. So yes, their debut is for me their third best. Second best, I placed Background Music, or released as BGM, from 1981. Here you can hear the Kraftwerk, I'll say influences, because it don't sound like Kraftwerk at all. They do their own thing, you know. But of course they use some of the same equipment, so it's easy to get a link with Kraftwerk. Songs here, I love every song. Ballet, Music Plans, Rap Phenomena, that's a funny one. Happy End is a great song. Thousand Knives, another masterpiece. But I prefer the solo Sakamoto version of this. Q, UT, Camouflage is great. Mars and Loom. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. And there can only be one number one. And of course, it is Technodelic. Probably their most famous album. And again, I can't stress enough how close they are to Kraftwerk. You can see here both in visuals and also in a lot of the songs. This is also a 10 out of 10. All songs are great. Pure Jam, Neue Tanz, fantastic. Stairs, Soul Music, fantastic. Light in the Darkness, Taiso, fantastic. Gradated Grey, great stuff. Key, it kind of goes nowhere, but I love it. And Prologue and Epilogue. This is a 10 out of 10. If you like Kraftwerk, let's say Computer World, you will love Technodelic by Yellow Magic Orchestra. So that's basically my ranking of their studio albums. I didn't add any other live albums or archival album. I'll quickly show you the solo albums I got from Mr. Sakamoto. This is more classical music, stuff done for movies. This is more an ambient kind of album, a mixture of ambient and maybe classical. This is a soundtrack from the movie Snake Eyes. I'll be honest, I haven't listened to this yet. Here's the soundtrack to Little Buddha. Here's an album called Heartbeat. This one is very dated, not necessarily in a bad way, but you can clearly hear it is 1991. So tread careful with that. It's another soundtrack, High Heels. Again, this is one of those I haven't heard enough. This is Sakamoto's solo album Beauty, which is interesting. We get some great guests on this. Brian Wilson is doing some backing vocals. You get lyrics by Leonard Cohen. You also get a a lead vocal by Iggy Pop. He is singing one of the songs from this album. Then we got the soundtrack The Last Emperor, which is half Ryuichi Sakamoto and half of it is David Byrne from Talking Heads. This is very moody and very good. Neo Geo, another Sakamoto solo album. This is the one with Iggy Pop, the song called Risky. Song number 3, Risky. That's a great tune if you just want to hear a good pop song. Here we have the soundtrack to Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which I bet all of you have heard the title cut from. A beautiful, beautiful ballad. This is a sort of a compilation of Sakamoto and Kazumi Watanabe, which also have done some very interesting albums. But we're not talking about him, we're talking about Sakamoto. BTTB, I think it's called Back to the Basics. And this is a great album. I like everything. There's even a remake of Tong Poo. And also this one, 1996. It's more of piano versions of some of his more famous songs, like The Last Emperor, 1919, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, May in the Backyard, High Heels, and so forth. If you want to listen to a great piano album, which doesn't take too much space, this is the one you should check out. Then we have this. I've got the Japanese edition. So what is it called again? I think it's something like the history of the encyclopedia something. I'm not sure. It doesn't say anything in English because I got the original version of this. But this is a great commercial album. Songs like Tibetan Dance, it's great. Paradise Lost, Self-Portrait, May in the Backyard, a tribute to NJP. It's a fun pop album, greatly produced. If you like the 80s stuff by Kate Bush, Peter Gabriel, and so forth, this one is for you. Then we have this weird album called The End of Asia. It's by Mr. Sakamoto and a band or a project called Danceries. And this is kind of half and half. Half of the songs are written by Sakamoto and the other half is real old Japanese folk or Asian folk music. They do a very interesting version of Sakamoto's Grasshoppers. Also a very interesting version of Sakamoto's The End of Asia. But yes, this is not for everybody because it's very folk based. It's not much pop in it. Sakamoto's best selection, and the only reason I bought this was that his second and third solo album was insanely expensive. So I bought this so I could enjoy the fantastic Riot and Lagos. So I could enjoy the arrangement. And Thatness and There-ness is an interesting song. And of course The End of Europe, which also is an incredibly interesting song. But if you're only gonna check out one YMO solo Ryuichi Sakamoto album, it has to be The Thousand Knives of Ryuichi Sakamoto. This is his solo masterpiece, and I think it's one of the first. I think he maybe released another one before this, but this is kind of Sakamoto with both of the YMO members. So to me, it is part of the YMO canon or legacy. And I'd place this album right up there. If this were to be included in my YMO ranking, it would probably hit third place, maybe second, third, fourth place, somewhere around that. So yes, that was my ranking of Yellow Magic Orchestra and a little overview of Mr. Sakamoto's solo albums. I know Hosono and the drummer also have done some very interesting solo albums, but we'll end it there. I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.